Anyway, did you hear that there was some blowback in the USA? Well, not really blowback, because I don't really think that either of the guys who did attacks in the last couple of days did it because they're outraged about Gaza or anything. One guy who blew up a Tesla Cybertruck outside Trump Tower, but that guy was like an active duty military intelligence guy who do not fucking know what that was about. And the other guy, who was also an active duty military guy, but has an Arab name and had an ISIS flag, and apparently also wasn't a Muslim and recently converted to Islam a year ago, and then drove a car through a Christmas market. So that's weird. Oh, no, a New Year's celebration. But he was like still in the military. Like his still active job on LinkedIn, I believe, was some military role. Suspect inspired by ISIS, which is still funny that they're going with this, given that ISIS, for all intents and purposes, barely even exists outside of Africa, which isn't even, the actual main ISIS group. So he was a US-born citizen from Texas named Shamshud Dinjabar, and he had like an ISIS flag, and apparently he had recently converted to Islam and all that stuff. But he was also, was a US military veteran who recently converted to Islam, according to this New York Times article, and then drives a car into a Christmas market. Honestly, seems like a psyop to me. New Orleans attacker discussed plans to kill his family and join ISIS in chilling recordings, and having dreams that helped inspire him to join. It just sounds like your typical mass murderer guy who claims to have visions or whatever that told him to do it. Except in this case, he latched on to the boogeyman in the US. This is a fucking army veteran who killed Muslims in Afghanistan, and he wasn't Muslim himself. And his brother said he's never understood what it meant to be a Muslim. He was never religious or anything like that. He served in the military and was deployed to Afghanistan. And in 2020, he was a real estate agent, apparently. This just sounds like someone who got divorced and turned to the closest thing he could find, which in this case was radical Islam. That's hated here, isn't it? Time to do a terrorist attack. And it was interesting because people were saying that the same company that rented him the car used in that attack also rented the Tesla Cybertruck that blew up outside Trump Towers. And that was the story behind that one's completely different. It was a guy who claimed to have been involved in military intelligence, who had knowledge of UFOs. And he claimed the recent drones over parts of the US and US military bases in Europe are actually Chinese drones with a special new kind of propulsion that no one knows exists yet, except the US military and China, which, doesn't sound, I would take that with a grain of salt, given that he was clearly not in a good place, given that he just suicide bombed Trump Tower in a Tesla Cybertruck, which I think is as good a sign as any that you're not really well in the head. But it's kind of just seems like two very weird coincidences that these, what seems to be two attacks. Obviously, the New Year's attack was the car attack was an attack, but the second one, why would you just blow yourself up outside of Trump Towers with an improvised bomb that clearly was not very effective in a Tesla Cybertruck and not really kill anyone or do anything like that? Maybe they knew each other or something and we don't know about it yet. Maybe it's twofold, false flags, victims of MKUltra. Who knows? You never know. It just seems very fucking suspicious that these seemingly unrelated attacks were both carried out with vehicles rented from the same provider within 24 hours of each other, both by military. One was active military, the other was a veteran, who are apparently both from the same area as well. So maybe calling it blowback is a bit inaccurate. I don't think guy who just converted to Islam a year ago, according to himself, and thought that he had visions to tell him to do ISIS terror attacks, is particularly concerned with US foreign policy when carrying out those attacks. But it could also just be a pre-Trump false flag being carried out in order to legitimize a future Trump scare campaign against Muslims, which it may be, honestly. Gotta love the American repurposing of anti-Semitism to use against Muslims, all in service of defending the mighty Israel and legitimizing their imperialism overseas. Hallelujah.